Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
This is an episode that I've been looking forward to for almost a year, I think, is what we've had going on here. So, Corey, why don't we get together here and introduce our guests.
Got me some music.
I'll get you some.
We should have made them choose the music.
We should have.
And you'll know why here in a second. I'm going to let this go here.
It's about there.
Today on the Farm for Fun show, we have not one but two guests that come from another podcast. These two inspired us in the early days of the Farm for Fun series, and we have wanted them on as a guest ever since. These two are real cowboys. And in fact, they have made a life and career out of it where one is a two-time PRCA Music Director of the Year, and the other is a 10-time PRCA Rodeo Clown of the Year. Together, they formed a top 200 comedy podcast that has over 150 episodes. They're in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. All podcasts. You know how many podcasts there are, Tanner?
Just a couple.
All of them. Drum roll, please. They're a 2 million download podcast from the RumpChat podcast. Please welcome Justin C. Rumford and Josh Hambone Hilton.
Wow. You put a lot of work into that.
Wow, that was excellent.
I need more smelling salts. I need more smelling salts. It is
badass.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good. We're just
that was an intro.
Yeah.
Could I have a spot on the circuit?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're already better than 3/4 of the announcers.
Yes. Just think, with a little practice, what I could do. I could probably make like $20,000 a year.
Oh, no. You know what? It's crazy what the top upper echelon, they're well deep into the six figures.
Really?
Deep into this. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there is no absolute way I could have touched. You guys have a list of accolades, for both of you. So I don't even know where to start. Tanner, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start by first thanking Brady Smith for the introduction.
Yes.
So that was the connection. We had an absolute blast when he was on our podcast, and this was his number one recommendation for who we should get next. And I think that's been almost 2 years.
Right.
So this is a long time coming, super pumped to have it, and I just want to give you some crap here, Hambone. The gal that puts our outline together, like 3/4 of the page is for Rump. And then there's a little spot for you, so.
Yeah.
I'm bigger anyway. I take up more room.
I'm just more humble.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, first of all, let's start Hambone. Where are you living at? And then where are you at now?
We live in my wife and my little boy. We live in San Angelo, Texas, West Texas. And but right now we and our Logan coach trailer are living in Spanish Fork, Utah. Nice.
And you, Rump?
Ponca City, Oklahoma, the Great Osage, rolling beautiful hills. And I'm getting ready to start tonight at Days of 47 right here in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. About 52 miles from Hambone, actually.
Oh, you guys aren't that far apart then.
That's the biggest weekend. $2 million are given away in rodeo this week between the three rodeos: Ogden Pioneer Days, Days of 47, and Spanish Fork Fiesta Days. So it's the biggest rodeo week in the country this week in Utah.
So you got that close to each other, but couldn't get hired on together.
Well, it's a committee thing. So Rump was here a few years ago. Like guys in his position, for the most part, they go a couple years and then they won't be back for 3-4 years, and then they'll come back. Very rarely do you see a guy at one spot every year for a long period of time. So he'll be back here next year. It just kind of goes. Sometimes we're together a bunch all summer, and then we haven't worked a rodeo together since Corpus Christi in Texas in May?
Yeah, like the
or
first
Guyman,
week.
Guyman.
Guyman. Yeah.
No, Guyman, Corpus after Guyman. And it don't matter. Since May, we have not been together. So and doing a podcast, it's difficult. I mean, his meeting times are different than mine. He's in different time zones. And so that's where we've gotten our self in a bind to record. There's been times we went weeks without recording, but we took an initiative this year to really push on and push hard. And we've been getting one out every week. So, this may count as one of ours.
Hey, we can send you the audio file. Absolutely, we're gonna have fun while we're doing it.
Perfect. And I hope a lot of our listeners catch you guys and get turned on to you guys and your great product, and then maybe we can get some of you guys, because a lot of times, especially the farm my dad, he's retired, worked for Frail Gas Propane for 8,000 years, and but now he's helps a big farmer there in Southwest Iowa plant and harvest, and so he loves podcasts, and so guys like that, they're a main core of our audience, and so we're excited to be here with you guys. Sorry, I kind of went off on a rail there.
Hey, you're from Iowa, right?
Yes, sir. Sydney, Iowa, born and raised.
Nice.
And the reason you don't live around there, you just go somewhere closer to the rodeos?
Well, it's just easier out of when I moved to Texas. I was, my early 20s, and just wanted a little bit more to go more, and I was getting more and more jobs. I was, early on in my career, and moved to Fort Worth. It's just a lot easier to travel out of there than Sydney, Iowa. So, just did that. Met my wife the first day I moved there. She didn't become my wife for a while. It took me a while to chase her down and wear her down. But
sounds familiar.
Yeah, and then and we just I ended up, she's a Texas girl and stayed there. But no, Sydney, Iowa will always be my home. I love coming back to Iowa. We do a few hour road to Dayton, Iowa. Right there in the middle of the state, and then down to Fort Madison on the southeast corner. So, which Rump's been multiple times to both of those, or all three rodeos. He'll be back in Sydney this year and Fort Madison. So it's coming home. I know when I start to see the Casey's General Store signs,
yes,
I start to feel like I'm home. That's the greatest pizza in the world, and I will fight Dave Portnoy over that.
Yeah.
So,
you're already picking fans out of our audience right here. That's all he had to say. That is all you had to say. Yeah. So Corey and I are actually in the process of remodeling an old Casey's to put our recording studio in. So we just had a couple of TikToks go for significant amount of views because every Casey's had a drop safe right behind the counter. And it was still in there when we bought the building. So we kind of documented the process of trying to get that sucker out of the ground. And a lot of people got to come along and watch that as we did it.
I have to check that out. Did you find anything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We found the secret recipe to Casey's breakfast pizza.
Oh, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, no, wait.
Tell me.
It was the secret recipe to Bush's Baked Beans.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. No, there was nothing
It was full of water, and it was kind of gross. But we had a fun time trying to get it open.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll have to check that out. But I don't know, for our audience that doesn't know exactly what y'all do, I'm calling you Hambone and I'm calling you Rump because I enjoy your podcast, but it's Justin Rumpford. There's no P. You should be Rump. You should be Rumpf. And what do you do?
What's that?
What do you do?
For my profession, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a full-time rodeo clown, so I go for about 11 months solid, January 1st till about November 15th. I do all kinds of stuff. I do clown acts. I work with the music guys, do giveaways. I've been pretty fortunate to get some of the best rodeos, there are. I get to work San Antonio and San Angelo and Austin, and I've got to work the big ones. I've got to go to Pendleton, Oregon. Of course, Fort Madison, Iowa, definitely one of my top 5 rodeos in the whole world. Sykeston, Missouri. Sydney, of course, 100th this year. So, yeah, I travel year round. Each rodeo is a different contract. A lot of people say, oh, you're on the circuit. Well, there is a circuit and there isn't. So every rodeo that I do is a independent rodeo. I don't get hired by a company for multiple rodeos. I'm not hired by an association. So every rodeo I work is its own individual event. So the rodeo will call me, or we have our big convention in Las Vegas in December, where everybody can get together, producers, soundmen, clowns, announcers, big screen, everybody in the business. So you'll get approached and say, hey, it's I'm John Smith. I'm from this rodeo. We'd like to have you for year 23 if you're available. And you say, okay, yeah, I'm available, and you figure out price and the details, and so it's a really good job. I mean, a really good job, honestly. It pays great, and get to kind of pick where you go. If you want to take a week off, you just don't book anything. Of course, I don't do that, which I wish would sometimes. But I've had a rodeo every weekend. I've had 1 week off since New Year's Eve, so I've went pretty hard, but I definitely enjoy it, especially getting to cruise around with my friends. I was thinking about that. Sometimes you get kind of worn out, but man, you think like yesterday. It's a Tuesday morning when most people are going to work. We're driving across Utah, so being a rodeo clown is been really good to me. It's been great to my family, but rodeo itself is been my everything. I mean, I have a house, I have a land, I have a barn, I have friends, I have a wife. Like everything that I have has came from rodeo, and so I'm pretty partial to it. There's some days I get grouchy, but that
Yeah.
I figure that's in anything though. No matter how much you love your job, sometimes you get a little grouchy. But so yeah, I'm full time rolling hills and telling jokes and cruising around.
So how do you
So yeah, it's
go ahead,
No, go
Hamba?
ahead.
Oh, I'm curious. How do you go? I'm assuming you got into rodeo not as a clown first.
Yeah, so my granddad Floyd Rumford had started Rumford Rodeo in 1946. He produced his first rodeo in 1946 in Sterling, Kansas, and after that went pretty good. He started putting together a herd of bucking horses and became a amateur stock contractor until 1980. In 1980, he joined the PRCA, where we were in pro rodeo from 1980 to 2008. Um, Rumford Rodeo Company, we sold. My grandfather passed away. My dad ran it for a while, and we sold it to Jimmy Crothers, who has New Frontier Rodeo Company. But we still have the ranch in Abbeville, and besides just the rodeo, we we didn't farm, but we had a lot of farmland. We hired our cousin Miles Hartman to farm it. We ran commercial cattle and bucking horses and bulls, and so growing up in the business, I never wanted to be a rodeo clown. I didn't even think anything about it until after college, when I did it kind of just as a deal. It all started really when this guy didn't show up. His dad had a stroke, and so he left. And they're like, "Hey, you're funny." And I'd been working for a stock contractor behind the scenes forever, but I was always cracking jokes,
Yeah.
especially back in the day when Chris Farley was still alive, and I was like the living Chris Farley,
He
rodeos,
was.
Yeah.
He really
just
was.
busting jokes and making fun of people, and especially just cowboys. We had so much fun, and then they'd be like, "Man, you should clown." I'm like, "Nah." Well, so I did it that one day, and it paid great, and it was a blast. And I was like, "Dude, this is what I want to do." So I got my card, and I had known Hambone because when I was hauling bucking horses and bulls, when we had the tour finale in Omaha, Nebraska, I would haul the horses up there to the tour finale. So I'd met Hambone and got to be good friends with Hambone and the Survey boys, and we all got along and everything was great. Well, so
Tell
my
how much
first
you did. Tell
my
how much you
first
did the first day you met me
what?
when you hopped out of the truck.
Oh yeah, I had to ask to take a shower because I had been driving that semi for a few days. And I had to went to Hambone's parents' house in his basement where he was living and took a shower and used his loofah. but
Nasty.
the funniest thing though, Hambone told me, so the first pro rodeo I get is in Clovis, New Mexico, and I was nervous. I was like, man, I'm in the pros now. This is like thing. And so I get there, and Hambone, he pulls up to pick me up. And I get in his truck, and he says, "I just want you to know, just because you're funny outside the arena doesn't mean you'll be funny inside the arena."
That's what a good friend is
Very
for.
true.
But we just started rocking from there on, and like I couldn't pick this job out, but I mean, looking back, what else would I do? Like and be able to make good money, because unfortunately, working for a stock contractor, while it may be rewarding, it's financially not the best job. You got to
No.
love what you do, but you're not going to make any money for. You can make enough to get by, and I did that for 8 years, just straight work for stock contractors. I did okay, but there's no upper level when working for a stock contractor. Like, you're never gonna work your way up through the company, and so that's the great thing about this clown deal is the harder I've worked, the more we've got to do, and the better rodeos you get. So
Right.
it's been very rewarding.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
So
It is.
we've got Northwest Iowa where I grew up. We got the Barnes family, and
Yeah,
every other year when we've got corn grown on the west side of the road, they bring their Broncos down and they run them out on our corn stalks every other year after harvest. So it's always kind of neat to see these animals. They look so majestic when they're not in the ring, but after you put them in the chute, I wouldn't want to be close to them.
Yeah. No, they know it's game time for sure. They sense the crowd and of course getting cinched up, and whether it's a bareback rigging or a bronc saddle, I mean, in bulls obviously, and it's go time. It's to echo Rump, it's such a niche market. Everybody grows up with a football or a basketball or a baseball, but not everybody grows up with a rope in their hand. So
That's right.
it's a lifestyle that's it's been romanticized in TV shows and movies over the years, but it's I always tell everybody we're glorified carnies. We just take more showers is the difference between us and the carnival, because we move from place to place. Like me, on my part, I'm at places for years, I mean, 15 years in Denver and 10 years in Casper. So Rump will change. And so I envy that they get to see different spots, but then again, I know I've got a job
Right.
this week and where I'm going to be for years to come. So it's definitely growing up in Sydney, Iowa. It's a Hall of Fame rodeo. We were put in the Hall of Fame 4 years ago in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Hall of Fame. So I grew up seeing the biggest names in the business right there, and in a little town of 1,000 people. The stands, they seat 6 to 7,000 or whatever it is in our stands, and just watch that community come to life. And my dad rode bulls. We high school rodeoed all over the state of Iowa, amateur rodeoed, and then our friends the Surveys that put Sydney, Iowa on, and Dayton and Fort Madison. They're the stock contractors. And I was doing radio. I was at Iowa Western Community College, the old Reavers in Council Bluffs, and I was on the radio and for a couple of years, and the Survey boys are like, "Hey, would you like to do music some of our rodeos?" And so I started out their small rodeos. Clovis, New Mexico actually happened to be my first professional rodeo as well. And so it's just I mean, rodeo has brought everything into as well as my life, my wife and where I'm living and everything I have is because of the rodeo business. And so it's but it definitely we've missed weddings, funerals, birthdays. It's not as glamorous as people think. It's a hard life. You have to commit full on, and if you don't commit fully on, then you just get washed up and washed away. So, but we keep plugging along, and we're blessed to be here.
It's kind of like farming, and it's go time. You're missing weddings and all that. Like, is it harvest season? Did it rain?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can I be there or not?
Yeah. Recording podcasts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, when it's harvest time, there is nothing else that matters. It's if you can get in the field, it's full on. And I mean, obviously, growing up in Iowa and Rumpin, a small community too, a lot of farming down there, wheat and everything, in the plains of Kansas. So we both have a lot of respect for the farming community and what it takes on the whole family. And it's just like rodeo; the whole family gathers in. Our wives, they slide behind the donut, that steering wheel. It's what we call the steering wheel. They get behind that donut and they drive, all night. And they're making sandwiches in the trailer as we're fueling up, and you get back in and you keep rocking, So just like farming, it takes the whole tribe.
So I'm still waiting for somebody to put together a romanticizing banking type TV show. I don't see bankers getting into that kind of spotlight. But I'm getting thirsty, Corey. So while I ask him a couple more questions, why don't you make us a cocktail here, a summer cocktail? We're gonna throw some frozen fruit juice.
Yeah, tell what is this?
A bunch of Busch Light, some frozen fruit juice, and some tequila into a pitcher to make a nice summer drink. Almost feel like we should be on a Pinterest ad or something.
I'm going to do the tequila first so I know I don't get over a little out of hand.
Oh, man. I love the old school cooler, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, screw those Yetis and Otter boxes. Give me the old plastic Igloo. I love it.
Igloo's been stood the test of time.
So while go ahead.
I just was going to say, I love the farmers too. I've seen it done where a pallet of Busch Light will come in the shop pre-harvest, and it's like, let's go.
That's
it's
what we do.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Get them 30 packs on the pallet, wrap it up.
So you probably don't know this about me. I actually have the Busch Light combine, so we have seen that in our shop.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's about a half bottle of tequila.
Yeah, so woof.
Sound good?
We're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, we're thankfully sponsored by Busch Light. I know you guys got, what is that, Gold Buckle?
Gold Buckle beer. Yeah, it's, the Miller International that have cinch jeans and shirts.
Yeah.
Same company that it's a brand of theirs. They started a few years ago, and we're both cinch guys, and so it's just kind of a natural little marriage there. So, yeah. It's they're working their way through it. That's a big market to break into. That's for damn sure.
Well, right, but because you can't find it around here. I don't think I could get a Gold Buckle if I wanted to. I'd have to come see you guys.
Yeah, they're working on the distribution, and you're welcome to come. We're going to have a bunch of it at Sydney, Iowa, first week in August. It's the 100th annual Sydney, Iowa Championship Rodeo, and we encourage all y'all listening, come down to Sydney and see some of the biggest names in pro rodeo and party on and drink lots of beer. And
I should have put that first.
The whatever you just crapped out of there, what kind of juice was that? It was mixed berry?
It had a berry blend, Old Orchard, 100% juice.
It came out of there like
I should have put that in
not
first.
Look appetizing.
Am I putting all the beer in here?
You do whatever you want to do with that. You're the cocktail mixer. So as far as rodeo goes, beyond getting hired for these gigs, are there sponsorship opportunities like that outside of it? Is it the cinch and a lot of different brands jump in as sponsors?
Yeah, especially for guys like Rump, and he can elaborate more, but he's out in the crowd. He's in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I'm a behind-the-scenes guy. I'm a major part. The music's a major part
of
the rodeo.
That's the key part. It makes the whole show, right?
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of the oil to the engine.
I thought it was the rodeo clowns.
Yeah. No, they go crack. They can during the bronc ride and they can go crack a beer and I'm still working, but not everybody does that.
I do. I don't care.
Yeah, but that being said, so sponsorship for guys like Rumford and announcers, bullfighters, those guys are out in front, and so sponsors tend to go more with
right
rather than someone like me. I've got some good brands that back me and always have, like Cinch and American Hats and stuff like that, but it's almost through more personal relationship and knowing that in the crowd like Denver, we sit there right in the middle and 8 to 9,000 people are around us and they can see a logo on my hat or my shirt or something like that. So but yeah, there's definitely, sponsorships are a huge thing. The problem with rodeo sponsorships is most people do it. It just seems to almost be like they just want to have the patch on their shirt because it looks cool.
Yeah.
So they'll trade their life away.
They'll
be like, okay,
sounds familiar.
I only want jeans and we'll give you jeans and shirts and you
free
can
product.
put this, on your shirt, or we'll give you free oil changes for life if you wear, Rump's oil changes on your back. And these guys, you ought to see, they just got patches everywhere.
Look like race cars.
Yeah, they literally look like NASCAR, and they may be, get a little bit of, and now you're upper echelon guys.
Sure.
Or Stetson Wrights and Sage Kimseys, or guys like that, Tough Cooper. I mean, they're making money. But they're multi-time world champions and
right.
They have images, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's trade. It's all just product trade. They don't make any cash. So
we see that here in the new ag influencer space. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be you'd trade out product for like a test plot. Somebody would come, want you to plant a hybrid or run a test plot for that seed company, and they'd give you the seed for the test plot. And then obviously that was a little bit of a cost savings. But I feel like there's a lot of that too when you get to YouTubers and TikTok and Twitter that are doing the influencing, and that's what happens is they will make a brand tweet or a testimonial or something in exchange for the product, which makes it a lot more difficult when you're trying to go out there and solicit dollars in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Rather than just product. I mean, we're thankful for this relationship with Busch Light that gives us both product and dollars, but we had to work really hard to convince them to do more than just the product.
Whew. Yeah, absolutely. And and now that we're sorry.
You're fine.
Somebody just came in from the pool.
Hey. Oh, hey. hey. Welcome to the podcast, bud.
What? Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, we should. All
right, buddy. Okay. All right, jump down. He's been in rodeo kids. Our friends, bullfighter of the Justices and Bo Sheets. They Bo doesn't have no kids, but Jess has got kids, and so they got a pool out back. I mean, that's just what we do. You kind of band together. But going back to, that's we got to that point when we started out. It was, it was little by little, but we've been blessed enough to be successful in this venture that we've started to really turn a corner with sponsorship dollars, and a lot of it was because we weren't recording regularly. And that's everything is have that content. Yep. And so we'd miss a couple weeks, maybe even 3 weeks at a time. And now that we've been hitting it every week, it's starting to turn the corner for us.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I want to give this a try and then play a little game with you guys, but then I want a couple of stories. I want to throw some entertainment in here to the second half of the show. So be thinking about a couple of stories, have the two of you egg each other on. We're going to give this a try. So this is our tequila Busch Light mixed berry cocktail. What are you gonna call it?
I don't know. It's your drink. You're the one that brought the stuff.
Oh, I should come up with a name. Maybe these guys will come up with a name before the show's done.
Let's give it a try.
Oh, holy crap! That would be dangerous.
I mean, it's a little strong.
Well, you put half a bottle of tequila in it.
I was going to say, I try that tequila you put in there.
That would.
That looks really good.
It would get you in trouble. That's for sure. One or two of those is probably enough. That
is very smooth. You guys will have to break that out now.
We will. Yeah. We will. We'll definitely do that in Sydney.
After the rodeo.
Hey, we can break it out. We can break it out at Bloody Mary morning.
There we go.
There you go.
That's a good idea. So I got a new game that I want to play with you. We've never done this with any of our listeners before. And assuming your podcast is listened to worldwide, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Do you ever look up where your listeners come from?
Yeah, it's insane. Like Portugal? Are you kidding me? I'm guessing it's military bases, maybe. I don't know.
That could be.
So I'm going to have you guys guess where these names of these countries are from. So we've got a listener in Nairobi. Where do you think Nairobi is?
That's Africa.
Africa.
It is. It's Kenya, Africa.
There you go.
Nice. This might not be as hard as I thought it was going to be. What about Cordoba?
Spain.
Cordoba. Yeah. Italy.
No.
Argentina.
Argentina, South America.
Right.
Idiot.
All right, you do the next one.
You did Cordoba.
Yep.
Piranha.
Use it in a sentence. No.
Or would that be Piranha?
Ooh, could be Piranha.
What's the country of origin?
Well, that would give up the.
piranha. It's got to be somewhere in the seas. I don't know, the Caribbean maybe or something like that, or South America. I'm gonna say
Look
South
at that.
America.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
Brazil, South America.
There you go.
Brazil.
Brazil. Ooh, Jakarta. Jakarta.
That's the Middle East. It's got to be the Middle
Yeah.
East.
I'm going to say
Iran.
Kazakhstan.
Indonesia.
Dang it, so
wow.
close. So
Muleshoe.
very close.
Muleshoe.
Nochia?
Muleshoe.
Muleshoe?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Isn't there a
Texas.
Muleshoe, Colorado? Yeah, Muleshoe, Texas.
There you go.
Yeah, Muleshoe, Texas.
Yep.
What
Used
about?
to date a girl from there.
Oh.
Ooh.
No, I didn't really. I'm playing.
She was hideous.
Camarillo.
Camarillo?
Would that be from the
Leo Camarillo was from California,
Oakdale.
so I'm gonna say California.
Camarillo
Oakdale?
by morning.
It is California.
Not Amarillo. How about Sperry?
Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
It probably
Ooh, it
is.
probably
It's also
is.
it is. We had it on as Iowa. There's probably lots of Sperry's.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if I could have much more of that.
Yep.
Well, you're gonna have to pace yourself.
I'm not a big tequila. I had a bad experience with tequila one
Well,
time.
you'll have to go get a fresh Bush Light there.
You're one of those guys. There's one of those guys, aren't you?
It was 24
My best
hours and a flight. It sucked.
My best friend back home, he left some tequila on the front yard of his parents' house, and hasn't touched it since. So I feel the pain.
What about you, Rumford?
But,
Anything that you can't drink anymore?
No.
No.
I'm good. This is gonna sound bad, but I have I'm like a lead sink. Like there's nothing I like it. I like if I'm gonna have a drink, I can have anything from a White Claw to a red wine and appreciate both equally.
I can feel that.
Yeah, and but we go through, especially me. I go through like these weird phases of like years ago. Like I haven't hardly drank a beer in probably 5 years, Hambone. Like I just kind of gave up beer, and then I went with vodka tonics for the longest time.
Yeah, we
And
got on a
then,
big vodka tonic kick.
Then I was like just straight up drinking apple Crown Royal with ice and water.
Oh yeah.
And then you know what? I started having White Claws before everybody else did, and it wasn't a big deal. Carly Servey gave me a White Claw, and it was delicious. And I was like, man, so I bought some, and everybody's like, what are those? I'm like, oh, these White Claws are cool. And Hambone thought I just liked them because I like drinking out of aluminum cans, because back when I used to drink beer, I used to drink some beer.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, all these chicks started getting drunk off White Claws, and now everybody makes fun of me. But that's all right. I'm sticking with the claws.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking the claws.
Yeah,
No
thank
laws.
you. No, not even one. Does Bush have a seltzer?
Ooh.
I don't think they do.
No, they do the Bush Light
there's an
apple.
idea.
They do the Bush Light peach. They certainly try, but maybe they do
And
need a seltzer.
Anheuser-Busch has plenty of seltzers, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultra does. Bud Light does.
Yeah.
Obviously White Claw.
Nice.
High Noon. That's not. I don't think that's Anheuser. Probably
So-
can't do that.
Yeah.
So when I first got to take my wife out on dates, it was the summer we first started dating. I knew who she was way before she knew who I was. You know, one of those situations to where it took a lot of work to get her to warm up to me. But I took her to a rodeo, and I'm sitting there at the first rodeo that my wife never went to in Des Moines, World's Toughest, and
Okay.
yeah, and
Is
I was
that
sitting
at Vets?
there. Nope, that was in Wells.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Wells Fargo's up. Okay.
Yep. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the rodeo clown, and I told her, I said, I've always thought I could do that. I want to be a rodeo clown. And she to this day does not let me live that down, thinking I could never do it.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Justin.
You couldn't.
What year was that? I probably was the clown there.
2009 or 10.
Oh wait, that'd have
Might have
been
been.
before me.
Was
yeah,
it?
I wasn't there till 2011.
Ooh, it might have. What's
Close.
this year? So we've been married. We got married in 2000. No, we got married in 2011. So just missed you.
Well, it's you know, a lot of people think that. I've thought that because instead of like some of my contracts call for full sound systems, so I put up sound and I run the cabling, and it's a lot of work and everything sound good and all this, you know. When a clown can show up and here's my microphone, make me sound good, I'm going to go do my thing and have some beers and then go be funny. Well, there's a lot more pressure than that. You have to not say anything to piss anybody off, which is near impossible anymore.
Yeah.
You got to stay out of the announcer's way. If nobody laughs at a joke, I would just melt. Like if I had said something and nobody laughs, I would just melt. And then a lot of these guys, they're in the barrel during the bull riding, and I'm claustrophobic. I can barely get an MRI done, and so I don't really feel like I could have 1,800 pound bull just whacking me in a can. And Rump's had plenty of injuries. Rump's had many injuries, blown knees. He's got a broke foot right now. He got the crap hooked out of him in Casper, Wyoming at the college finals. So he's dealing with that. But so being a clown's a little bit more than people think.
Well, and I think it's anything you can look at and go, man, that couldn't be that hard. But like he said, rodeo clowning is easy. Actually, it's easy. What the hard part is dealing with people. Dealing with people is what's tough, especially as a rodeo clown. Because if you're anybody else in the rodeo business, if you're a sound man, if you're a pickup man, if you are, whatever, if you're running the scoreboard, if you have a bad day and you're in a bad mood, you can be in a bad mood during the performance and no one's going to know. But, as a rodeo clown, we always have to be, feeling great and smiling and happy. And a lot of times that's hard. Like, you get tired and, just like today, I had to be out at 5:30 this morning. We were doing rodeo media, and so, at 5:30, I'm not much of a morning guy. And so at 5:30 in the morning, hey, you got to be on your game and you got to be excited and happy. So like, the clown in the arena part's the fun part. It's just, there's a lot to do to get to that point, Yeah. And, in this day and age, like Hambone said, you can't, like, I am always prided myself on not saying the wrong thing. I don't say anything political. I don't say anything religious. I just try to have fun with the crowd. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what you say. Sometimes they just, there's people there that just want to be upset. I could go, hey everybody, the color blue, and you might get an email. Could you believe he said blue? He never said a word about the color red.
Yeah.
We've always liked the color red. Our car is red, and this clown he's a butthead because he likes blue. So like, to ride the line, and especially in comedy, there's at a rodeo, the demographic of, you have the old people that have been going to rodeos their whole life, and then you have the young kids that are experiencing it for the first time, and then you have the parents in the middle, and then you have the new people that have never been there, then you have the demographic of people that love extreme sports. So when you put those all in, 8,000 people in one area, and it's hard to please everybody, because just like stand-up comedians, when you go to a Dave Chappelle show, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right.
So his crowd comes to see him. But at rodeos, there's so many different people that come. So, but also that's good to keep the challenge of trying to entertain everybody from 66 or 96. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hambone helps me a lot, because I wear an earpiece when I'm with him, and he'll be like, hey, look up in row 15. There's a dude with a mohawk, or stuff like that, or help do stuff. Because the thing of it is, what I try to do is get everybody just to have fun, and you don't have to. I don't stand there and tell jokes. I just don't. I never really have, but I do more stuff. Finding out who people are and having fun with them. Like, I heard the best line ever. I don't know if it was Matt Merritt or Matt Tarr that said it. I know it was a Matt, but this guy this old man had this awesome mullet. Just a rockin' mullet. And he says, look at that mullet. He said, that mullet looks like it comes with a bad credit score and 3 ex-wives, And And I'm like, you know what? But here's the kicker: I can't take that because it's not mine,
Oh,
And
right.
so there's so many of us rodeo clowns that just we're best buddies. Me and John Harrison and Cody Sosby and Matt Merritt, and like there's just a bunch of really good dudes. But we all try to, and just like with Josh's sound deal, everybody uses a little bit of each other's sound, and everybody might kind of use some of the jokes, but for the most part, we don't want to try to steal our other people's stuff because that's what makes them original, and our stuff is what makes us original. So, just like dealing with people, and then when you get to a rodeo, especially for me, there might be 25 people on the committee, and they had a vote, and 16 people voted for you, and the rest didn't.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you sometimes you get to the rodeo, and you have the best committee that are so happy you're there, and then sometimes the other people or walk up to you. You gonna do anything funny today, or you just and stuff like that. And you just want to punch people, but you can't punch people anymore. It's not legal.
Right.
And
Well, and of those going rodeo, it's their time of year, right? They're all excited, and they're drinking Bush Light like a son of a gun and wanting to party, and then here you just you're just you're tired, or this is it's just like going to an office, right?
Yep.
So you almost have to be on all the time. You don't want to, and you may have had an argument with your wife, or taxes are due, so you're not just in the old chipper mood. But these guys, and gals are just, woo! It's rodeo week. Let's
Yep.
have fun, and yeah,
well,
that gets to be a lot.
the party rodeos are hard too because I think what makes rodeos so great right now, and why rodeos are kicking ass
They are.
overall. I mean, the spectators, and because I honestly feel like people are more drawn now to rural America than ever before
Mm-hmm.
because they're tired of the city and tired of the crime, and the rodeo and that lifestyle is just such a easier, laid back time. But so you get to these, and I love these rodeos, but you get there and you got the people that they take. These are hardworking people that volunteer their time to make this rodeo happen. You have an accountant. You may have somebody that works at a restaurant, and they all take their week off. So when they're there, they're ready to party.
Right.
So come have a beer with us. Come have a beer. So you go have some beers, and then after rodeo, you have some beers, and the next morning at the parade, you have some Bloody Marys, and and because it's their week off, and they live 2 miles away, but they brought their RV
Yep.
so they could stay at the rodeo grounds, and you have fun with them, and it's such a blast. And then the rodeo gets over Saturday, and then Sunday you drive 600 miles, and then on Monday you get to another rodeo, and they're like, "Let's get a beer, it's rodeo week," and you're like, "Oh God, I just need
That's
to
what I'm
sleep."
talking about.
So trying to balance the. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to balance it out.
You're trying,
sometimes
trying to not. You don't want to be. You don't want to like. What's wrong with him? He wasn't having any fun. I don't want him back. He was. He didn't come have a beer with us because I mean, a lot of people do gauge that.
Sure.
They're like, oh, he just went back to this trade. He's not fun. They don't gauge per se on the job you do in the arena. That really matters, but how you didn't come hang out with them after the rodeo. So you kind of balance it. It's really nice when the family's with you, so then you can blame it on them.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man, my kid, I gotta go put the boy down. I'll catch y'all later, or something. So
See, Corey just blames it on me.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to see
You know,
that
it's
very
a rough-
minuscule when we travel for the podcast.
At trade shows for us, you're there 4 days in a row, and you're broadcasting 3 or 4 times, maybe sometimes 6 times interviews in a day, and then the people that showed up that day for the show want to go out that night, and that you've got an interview with the CEO of an ag company at 8 o'clock the next morning. I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
No.
It's probably some of the least amount of sleep I get, but I almost need a vacation after the vacation when you come back.
Yeah. We're so blessed. We really are. We're kind of giving you guys the kind of the dark side a little bit of this lifestyle, but at the end of the day, you're happy to see those people, and and it all works out, and you just like sometimes you don't want to go get in that combine. You're like, oh my God, I'm over it, but got to put meal on the table, and once you get in there, you get in your zone, and you do your thing. So That's just kind of how we are. Once we get in our spot, once we get in the roll of the rodeo, here we go. We rock and roll. So,
But I would agree. It definitely rodeo is booming. Rodeo is definitely got that higher echelon, and it might be because of TV. But even that feeling of walking into a rodeo, not being a cowboy, not being somebody that religiously attends, you're in awe of the people around you. It's a feeling of admiration. People probably watch countless hours on YouTube, just like Corey is a farmer. People watch equipment run all day.
All day.
It's a profession that a lot of people just dream and imagine.
I'm back.
my dad.
You are.
Yep. My dad follows these guys out of Minnesota that have a YouTube channel, and it's just their day-to-day operation, and he'll watch that hours on end.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, but it's kind of, and so that's kind of how we get, and that's what, going back to our podcast, so many people, it was just interviews, Sage Kimsey, what's it like winning 7 world championships?
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty cool, right? So we didn't want that. So it was like our podcast has always been based around the after the rodeo, back here at the trailer, having a beer, telling bullshit stories, talking smack on people, right to their face, by the way.
Yeah.
This isn't behind their back, it's to their face, and but in a fun way, not belittling anybody, but in a fun way, telling Casey Fields, oh man, you rode like a fat lady tonight, and just laughing because he's the greatest bareback rider of all time, so it's obviously a joke, but that's what people love. They love the behind the scenes, like they're here having a beer with us, listening to us, wherever they're listening to us. And so I think that's where our successes come from, is basically just giving people that behind the scenes stuff of the good and the bad, and really not sugarcoating it. Now we're to the point, now we're big enough. We get some backlash on some things we say. People don't like it, even though it's the truth. And so it's like, you don't want the drama, but yet you don't want to sacrifice what you've built. So,
Right.
Anyway, take it over, Rump. I got to take this call.
Yeah, that's 100% right. And it's everything is with the access to media is just crazy. If you think about rodeo and years ago, there wasn't Facebook and Instagram and emails, and like here in this rodeo, you can scan a QR code and make a video, and if they like it, they put it on the big screen.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. So like, so many people in the rodeo world, you got to be careful, because even if you saw something happen and you had a thought on it, and you said, man, that guy did this or that, and then somebody hears it, and then they send the audio to that guy, then that guy sees you at a rodeo and he's like, what's your problem? Why'd you say that? So like that's been kind of an issue, trying to figure out, like I said, dealing with people is hard. Dealing with bulls is easy. I'd rather deal with a mean bull every day of the week, because mean bulls don't lie. You know what they're going to do. They're honest. A bull wants to hurt you. You know that. But people will lie to you and try to make you feel good and then screw you over. So it just dancing around and trying to keep everybody happy is kind of a rough job in the podcast world. And because that, like Ambon said, we don't want to bounce around and not. We see something happen,
Yeah.
and we report on it. It's our opinion of what happened, and not saying anything's wrong or right, no matter what that might be. So,
but they're coming to our podcast. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's like, you don't like it. It's like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
You don't like it, don't listen to it.
Turn it off. Right.
We're not on Facebook. We're not putting it out there on a public platform. Anybody can get to it, yes, but even some of our raws that we do that are actually a subscription based shows, you literally have to pay $5
Right.
to be part of that subscription. So if you don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Didn't you go full subscription for a while?
People, what's that?
Didn't you go full subscription for a while?
No, we've
just
only our
once
raws are once a month, and we get a little bit more radical on those. So that's how we got that set up. And that's been really good. But we've done and we've lost subscriptions because because we wouldn't do one. We'd go a month without doing one, and people were like, "Oh, screw this! I'm not giving you $5."
Right.
Yeah. So, but we've been really good about that.
So
to kind of go back.
I know you got to get to your actual paying job, your Hambone, but before you take off, you set Justin up with a good story that he should tell us as you run out of here.
Okay, so talking about first dates with your wife, Rump, why don't you tell me about dating, your date, and the one where you won the bulldogging and ate the burrito.
What kind of burrito did we eat?
Oh, did he just? He might.
Are you there, Rump? Can you hear me?
Oh no!
Oh,
now we can't hear him.
Hey, how close are you guys to Dayton, Iowa?
We're not too far away.
Less than an hour, 45 minutes.
We I think Rump's going to go to Dayton next year. We have got to plan that for sure.
Oh yeah,
to get together and do that. I'm hoping Rump, because it's a really good story, and I hope he gets that work. And
when he pops back on, we'll ask him about it. So we need to ask him about his first date after he won the bulldogging.
Yeah, he went out with he took a gal to the rodeo and won the bulldogging. And cause see, that's the thing about Rump. He's a lot bigger than he once was, but he was a really good athlete. Still is. I mean, the guy for 300 pounds can move. It's pretty freaky. But he rode broncs, barebacks, bulls, steer wrestled, team rope, picked up bronc. I mean, he's done growing up in a stock contractor world. He's done everything but be a rodeo secretary, I think. But yeah, he won the bulldogging, and he's gonna kill me. I can tell it, but hopefully he pops back up here. But yeah, he took this gal he'd been chasing for a while, and they go to the rodeo together, and he ends up winning the bulldogging, so he's feeling good. Well, here we go. Come
That's
on,
funny.
Big Bear.
Sorry,
there you are.
Every time
Nope.
I get it, nobody calls me, and then as soon as I do this, I get 900 phone calls.
Hey, I was setting up when you had the gas station burrito, but you won the bulldogging, and you took the really hot chick to the rodeo. Go.
Oh, it was terrible. I thought, I about died. Seriously, I was in ICU for 2 weeks, and I tore my colon, and I had internal bleeding, and pretty bad deal. And so,
well, that's because a bull ran a horn up his butt.
Woo.
Yeah.
It wasn't
inches.
Bad.
It had nothing to do with the girl that he was dating.
No. This is the prequel to the story. So he got injured. His you can bend a gate, you can get it, and if you bend the gate, you can go back straight, but it still never shuts the same.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he had 2 inches in his bunghole. I think his name was Steve. Was that the bull's name?
I don't know. It was a bad cat, whatever it was.
Anyway, go ahead.
After I ended up not dying, I came back to college in Alva, and I had to have this like a donut pillow, and I told everybody I broke my hip in a car wreck because I didn't want to tell them what happened. And so I was like, man, life is short. Life is short, man. You got to do what you want to do. And there's this gal, and I always wanted to ask her on a date, but I never would because I was too afraid. And I thought, what if I never asked her and I would have died? So I asked her, I said, hey, I want to take you out. I said, I want to take you to a rodeo in Hutchinson, Kansas this weekend. And she's like, all right, let's go. So we load up my pickup and trailer and go up there I was a steer wrestler back in the day and competing. And I take her up there, and this girl is hot. I ain't kidding you. Like, not just a little bit hot either. Like, I'm straight up 9.5 for Oklahoma. Like,
Okay. For Oklahoma. Okay.
She was built like a burlap bag full of bobcats. She had it together. And so we go up there and I go to the rodeo. It's an amateur rodeo, and I compete, and I'm winning, but you got to wait till after the rodeo to get your check. So after I get done steer wrestling, we're drinking beer and hanging out. We'd ate at Carlos O'Kelly's on the way up there, and at a Mexican restaurant in Hutch, and I'm slamming beers because I thought we were just staying at my dad's house, which was right outside of town. And the deal gets over, and I go get my money, $492. I remember that. And so everybody the whole night was like, is that your girlfriend? I'm like, yeah. And she wasn't at the time, but, I thought maybe.
Sure.
And they're like, wow, she's so hot. I'm like, yeah, that's how I roll. That's how I live, whatever. So I get my money, and we're getting ready to go to my dad's, and she gets a phone call. And one of the cheerleaders at Alva at Northwestern, who I went to college with, had got a DUI. And so she was the head cheerleader. So she says, "You got to take me back. I got a meeting in the morning." Oh, crap. So I've been drinking a lot of beer, and I know that ain't good. So that's all right. So I load the horses, and put them in the trailer and get her loaded up. By this time, it's about midnight. So I go to the quick shop to get, kind of something to clear my mind a little bit. So I get me a bomb burrito, Gatorade, and a Red Bull. And, because that'll fix anything.
Fix anything.
Oh, yeah.
So we started driving back to Alva, and where it's going good. She's telling me stories. I'm just laying it on the line. My man, you're so beautiful. I'm this and that. She, about 1:30, she says, "Hey, can I lay my head down on your leg?" I said, "Sure." So she lays her old head down there, and I'm driving. All of a sudden, my stomach goes.
Oh no!
I'm like,
Oh no!
uh-oh.
That's what Corey calls. That's what Corey calls bubble guts.
Yeah. One thing about my injury, with the bull injury, it made it when you have to go. Even to this day, it's not like, "Hey, I think I need to go. Maybe here in a minute I'll try to find somewhere." When it's time to go, if you don't, it's gonna go anyhow. You can't shut it,
Man.
So I'm like, "Oh no!" So I'm thinking maybe maybe I just got gas, but I thought if I farted, she's gonna smell because her head's on my lap. And remember how hot she was, guys. Remember how hot she was. So
Very
anyhow,
important.
I'm like, I can make it. So I start flooring it. And I'm going like 102. And I think, man, I got this idea. I'm going to pull over and tell her I'm going to check on my horses to make sure they're not colicking. Because who doesn't do that? So I pull over and I'm like, "Hey, I got to go to the trailer real quick, check on the horse." She's like, "I love your horses. I'll come with you."
No.
Oh, crap. I was going back there to do the old take a sock off in the ditch trick. We've all done it in rural America. You guys know you've taken the sock off. I know you have.
Yep.
And so she gets back in the truck and I think, man, I can make it. So I get to the fairgrounds. I kick the horses out. I go, "Up, see ya." And I'm just a few blocks away from my house, truck and trailer, empty. I mean, bouncing. I get to my house. I go running for the door. And about 5 foot before the door, explosive, nasty, hurtful, bomb burrito, Red Bull, Gatorade, Carlos O'Kelly's diarrhea.
36 beers.
I feel like I got shot in the back. Oh, and these beers, they were keg beers, by the way.
Oh.
They were like the clear cups. Yeah. So that beer hits different, literally. And so I just laid down in my front yard and just finished.
Just
At this
finished.
time, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just laying there. I can't stop it. And so I just lay on this sucks, And so I'm kind of sitting there and laying there, and I get up and I've always had a pretty good attitude. I go around the backyard and take my pants off and hang them on the fence, get the hose out, and I'm naked, spread myself down. I got my $492 in my hand, and by this time it's about 3:30, maybe 4 in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? What a wonderful day. I won some money. I didn't die. I took this girl on a date. Like, my life is so good. And I go walking around the front of the house, and there she stands. Right there. And I'm naked. Lying on a cowboy hat. I didn't have the boots because that got ruined in the explosive. Anyhow, the boots. Anyhow, that's all the story. But so she's standing there, and she sees me naked, and she goes, "Oh, my God, you're naked." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She goes, "Why are you naked?" I said, "I shit my pants." I just told her what happened, and then I go, "No, I didn't." She goes, "You did, didn't you?" I said, "No." I said, "What are you doing here?" She says, "I forgot my purse in your truck." I'm like, "Oh." So I went in, and I was like, maybe she'll forget. And that was our last date. I'd walk by her on campus, and she'd be like with 3 or 4 of her friends and be like, "Hi, Rump." And then they'd be like, "I can hear you laugh. I can hear you laugh." But you know what? God bless the broken road, because I got a hot wife now, Ashley, and we got 3 kids, been married for 17 years. I still got it.
Nice.
Right.
That's hilarious.
I love
It
that.
wasn't at the time. It ruined that pair of boots.
Man, I don't have a ruined colon, and I still have problems trusting farts. So I have empathy for you on that, man.
That might be the quote of the week right there.
Corey's got a nice field poop story that we've told a couple of times on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I got a couple others too. I got to break out sometime, but there's a place and time. One poop story per episode.
I think that there's
hey guys, I got a production meeting. Oh yeah, everybody does. But I just want to say I want to get on this podcast again, and we appreciate you guys having us on, and thank you for reaching out and glad it finally worked out. But we have a early production meeting here in Spanish Fork, so I got to jump off. But thank you guys very much. If you can make it down to Sydney, awesome. If you can make it to Dayton this year, Rump won't be there, but I'll be there. You know, you got my number. Holler at me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day. Good luck. And we'll close it out with Rumford. We'll get one more story and we'll hang her up.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So, Justin, as you travel around and all these stories that you've told on over 150 episodes of RumpChat, what's one of your favorites that would tease our listeners to head over there to catch more of them?
Well, I won't tell you the whole story, but I will tell you this. A lot of times my mother has listened to RumpChat and said, I wish you wouldn't tell all these stories. But the thing about it is, I'm very comfortable who I am, and I've done a lot of dumb stuff, and I don't care. I'm, obviously not trying to do dumb stuff anymore, but I was pretty wild back in the day. But the one story that one of my favorites is one of the earlier RumpChats, and it's also not that all the stories end up with me being naked, but sometimes. Out in the middle of nowhere where I grew up in Abbeville, Kansas, there was a lot to do, and so I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm going to give you a teaser. So these girls that were our age were having a slumber party, and they were all going to sleep in the barn, and they lived about 2 miles from my house. So me and my friends decided what we would do is we all had dirt bikes. All of us had motorcycles, like not good ones either, like old junky Yamahas and Hondas, and we'd wrench on them and cruise around, thought we were cool, ride them out in the pasture. And so a bunch of my friends, what we were going to do is we were just going to get in our boots and cowboy hats, and we were going to ride past the slumber party. This is in high school. We're going to ride by the high school slumber party naked. Thought we would really be cool. And we all took off to go over there, and we got right in front, and my motorcycle cut out and died. And make a long story short, I had to have the girl who was hosting the party, her dad had to come out and give me a ride home. And so that was an awkward conversation with my parents. But it would have been a great prank if it had worked. The good news is I haven't seen most of those people since I graduated high school, so
nice.
Maybe they forgot it. Yeah,
that's.
But
good.
There's just stuff like that. I've had some wild stories, but what a crazy journey it's been. I think about that sometimes. Like, thought about that today. I'm here in. I grew up in a town of 115 people. I went to Fairfield High School. I graduated with 20 kids. And, I'm getting ready to work this rodeo that have 12,000 people here tonight. And it's pretty cool. And I'm so proud to come from the farming and ranching community. And thank God, I got friends back home in Abbeville right now that are carrying on. And they're taking the family farms. And they're rocking with it. And it's a tough road to hoe, and the rodeo deal is a little bit the same. Putting up with a lot of different things, but that's one thing I'm so glad with RumpChat that we can kind of keep doing things to keep rural America on the map and not forget, how many good folks there are. There's a lot of crap in this world, but there's so many good people that you don't hear from, and that's why I love to talk with people like you guys and other people that we can keep pushing that out there. Like, man, we're having some fun, and there's good people out there. Don't stop believing it.
Yep,
absolutely. No, this has been a pleasure. It's always fun to listen into you guys, and I hope our listeners become a big fan of yours. It'd be a great podcast to listen to as you're cruising through the field this fall.
Yep.
Anytime. It's
with no kids. With no kids.
No kids, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I'm sorry my phone cut out a couple times. I don't know if Hamlin told you I'm not techie.
No, I think everything will be just fine. You got anything you want to ask him before we ask our payoff question?
No, I think we're good.
So we asked the same question to every guest, and Hambone got off the hook. But if you could go back to yourself at age 18, knowing what you know now, what would you say?
Don't eat that burrito.
I think if I could go back to 18, I wouldn't have went to college. I'd tell myself not to go to college. I went to college and I enjoyed it, but looking back, I got a degree, but I haven't used it. And I wish that when I got out of college, I would have put more.
All right, he wouldn't go to college.
He wouldn't go back to college.
He got cut off.
Or wouldn't go to college.
No, wouldn't go to college.
Yeah. And then he would try harder, I would assume, pursuing whatever it was right after the time that he spent there. So, yeah, that's interesting. It was a very fun interview. I can't wait to hopefully catch these guys when they come to Iowa.
Sounds like next year, Dayton, Iowa.
Yeah. Could be a lot of fun for this. Listeners, thank you for hanging out with us. I would go check their podcast out.
Very good.
I love listening to it. But if you want us to do more guests like this outside of the box, don't hesitate to send us some new suggestions. We appreciate those. But what do you say, Corey?
Say crack a bush light. You deserve it.